What up, John? Indoor Hydroponics, Outdoor Organics. Welcome back, guys. I am a big fan of mulching. I think the garden needs to be mulched. I leave it unmulched during cooler weather so that the black of the dirt and the compost heats the ground for the plants because these are summer loving plants. But when the temperatures become right, mid 70s, 80s, things of that nature, now we want to mulch and we want to keep that moisture content consistent and in the ground. And before you mulch, you have one opportunity to add one last top dressing. So here is a decent top dressing recipe that I'm going to put together. Again, it's kind of your last chance. You can side dress, but you can't top dress the entire row once the mulch is in place, unless you're using like grass clippings or whatever. It's just a bear to get stuff onto an entire row once it's been mulched. So I had some leftover T-Mix that's been kind of broken down. I threw that in the wheelbarrow. I'm going in with alfalfa meal. Alfalfa is really good for a little bit of nitrogen, and it produces a product called tricantanol when broken down, which is a plant stimulator. Insect frass and kelp are going into here at somewhat good amounts. Langbonite. This is very good for roots and fruit production and flower production. And so it's a little bit water soluble, but it takes a minute to get in there. So adding it in advance of flower is really important. Cottonseed meal, which is a good nitrogen base. We're still in the nitrogen slash veg portion of our growth cycle. So I think getting a little bit of that in there is really good. Now we're going to add basically the top dressing or the soil amendment. So we're adding a bag of lobster and crab compost. Love that stuff. I use a lot of worm castings. I think it's the single best organic amendment that you can add to any garden. So I'm going to add a good amount of worm castings. Great for top dressing and side dressing. I can't overemphasize that enough. We're going to go in with some compost, a little bit of green sand. We're going to mix that up really, really well. Okay, I want all of those amendments in there, good and mixed up. And this is going to be our top dressing. We're just going to add a good inch to 2 inches on top of each row and work it in with our little patties. And I did this for all of my tomatoes, and I did it for my peppers as well. So it's a good universal top dressing recipe. I think it's really important when picking mulch, if you're going to use wood mulch or wood chip based mulch, is to get it as finely shredded as you can. Shop around for that stuff. The more fine it is, the more it will break down quicker, if you will. Fungally dominated compost comes from wood chips. And if you put big ass wood chips down your rows, it takes years and years and years to break down. I'm going to leave this stuff in place so that it will break down over the winter and into next year and whatnot. And it's really, really good for plants. So I get it as finely shredded as I can find so it'll break down quicker, get into the ground. I've got a pond in my backyard with all kinds of grasses and decorative stuff and whatnot. I've never fertilized it once outside of mulching it year over year over year, and it grows like crazy. It's unbelievable. So wood chip compost, when broken down, it is so good. So again, I bought some really finely shredded wood chips, got them down the rows, and guys, I'm off to a banger start this year, man. This might be the best start to any garden I've ever grown. Um, you'll see here in a minute, 11 days after I top dressed and mulched and watered and added some compost teas and stuff, how quickly these plants are growing, man. I mean, 11 days later, and boom, here we are. It is banging. So, guys, we are off to a great start here. Don't forget to top dress when you can. Mulch, it's so important. keep a good moisture content in that soil, let those amendments break down, feed those microbes, and guys, you'll be off to an amazing start. I am. It's great. Hope your guys' gardens are going awesome. As always, be good to each other and peace.